Hey everyone, I'm the Chosen One Legend here with my co-host, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Kai, also known as Fascarine.
And welcome to our podcast BunchaJokahs, where we talk about a bunch of Nintendo stuff over the past month, the upcoming month, and a bunch of other random gaming stuff we decide to talk about.
Yep.
So, welcome to the Xenoblade episode, essentially.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's we've been playing it, and I'm sure we'll have a lot to say. I should mention, for anyone who isn't interested, the other segments are still there. So we're going to start with news first of all. Then we'll get into what we've been playing, which will include Xenoblade, and then we'll end on looking ahead to the month ahead. But I should also mention, Xenoblade discussion will be spoiler-free, so we won't be talking any story spoilers or future connected or the main game, so you're safe to stick around for that, basically. So
yeah, it's all good.
And also, if you do want to skip about, there will be timestamps in the description below, so you can jump around to whichever segment you choose. That being said, if you're ready, Kai, let's get on with the podcast.
Yeah, let's go for it.
So our first segment I like to call "Can't Have a Podcast Without News, Baby." So
Every week,
it's never going to get old. This is official now, so just hope I don't come up with new segments, because you can bet there will be more rhyme quotes. So
I'm awaiting it.
There's not too much news. In fact, I've only got 4 things to talk about.
Right.
I will admit there have been a few small tidbits from Sony and Microsoft that I haven't included here, just because I don't think we'd have much to say about them.
No, we are much more Nintendo oriented, so there wouldn't be much to comment on.
I've included a few, sort of the big reveals when they happen, but other than that, just mostly Nintendo stuff. So, first of all, on the 15th of May, there we go, they announced Paper Mario, the Origami King for the Switch.
Right, yeah.
Which is coming out in just a month now, so
yeah, it was a really short release date. It's coming out really soon, which is a surprise.
Was, yeah. I don't know. I think they must have been sitting on the game for a while, I suppose.
It must have been. I mean, as we know, the Paper Mario series has been very hit or miss. A couple of games have been considered really good, such as Thousand Year Door, whereas other ones, not so much. So I'm really excited.
It's a mixed bag. People have a lot to say about Sticker Star in particular. So
yeah, but this new game has some potential from the trailer we've seen. We don't know too much about the gameplay, but it does seem a little bit more puzzle oriented. It does seem to take some things from Sticker Star, but not too much. So I'm really not sure what to think at the moment.
Yeah, I think as far as we can tell, there's not the expendable attacks that like in Sticker Star and Color Splash.
Right.
But there is still quite a unique battle system they've got with the rotating battlefield. So what do you think about that?
I think that's interesting. It seems to be kind of a new direction in the series, especially compared to the older stuff, but at the same time they're keeping that kind of turn-based flair to it. So I'm really curious to see how that turns out in practice once people actually get to play the game for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I'd expect, seeing as it's coming out next month, we must be getting some more trailers this month, you'd think.
Yeah, hopefully.
That go into gameplay a bit more. But I will say, they have sold me on just the general... I mean, of course, the aesthetic of it, which looks incredible.
Of course, yeah.
But also just the comedy of it and the humour. It's...
Yeah, the overall premise seems really interesting to me. The very first thing we see of the game is some creepy version of Peach, telling you to be reborn. It's crazy. I like the direction, though.
And you choose an option, yes or no. She's just like, it doesn't matter,
Yeah, like some of the earlier Paper Mario games, we know that they can have very dark sort of themes in them. So the fact that they started off with that this time round, that was a good sign to me.
Yeah, and I love how they have that folded up Bowser just following you around as well. So that's
oh, that's excellent. I'm gonna love him as a party companion.
I'll admit I haven't actually played a Paper Mario game before.
Okay.
But I have played some of the Mario RPGs, which have Bowser with that very similar sense of humour to him.
Right, so, I see.
I'm definitely looking forward to that. Because the thing is, when I was younger, I really wanted to get Super Paper Mario, but it just so happened, like when I went to buy it, it was out of stock, or I got another game, so I never ended up getting it. So hopefully this maybe could be my introduction to the series. So
Wow, I played Super Paper Mario when I was much, much younger.
Hmm.
But I'm looking to maybe play it again at some point soon because
Oh
it's
yeah.
a really interesting one. So
No, definitely. So hopefully that should be fun. The next
yeah,
news I've got is on the 29th of May, and I don't know how much you know about these series, but I thought it's worth mentioning that the Bioshock collection, the Borderlands collection, and XCOM have all had Switch releases. Same day as Xenoblade, so
yeah, it's a good
that
day
was,
overall.
yeah, I mean, no matter what game you're into, there's something for you there, so.
Yeah, I don't know too much about any of the series. You know, I know a little bit about Borderlands and that kind of thing.
Mm,
I've heard a lot of good stuff about the Bioshock series and XCOM, but
yeah.
it's nice to see that Nintendo are still being open with what games they're delivering to the Switch. They're not just being extremely exclusive with what games they present like they have been in the past. So it's nice
Yeah,
to see.
it's good to see some strong third-party support in general. And
Yeah,
even though a lot of people have played these games before, like I've never tried any of them because they've never been available on Nintendo platforms.
exactly. Yeah,
So even though I don't know much about them, Bioshock definitely interests me. So that's one for me to keep an eye on.
yeah,
You know,
definitely.
whenever I eventually finish Xenoblade in several months' time. So.
Of course.
The next piece of news I have was that on the 3rd of June, so just yesterday when we were recording this, they announced Sega announced the Game Gear Micro.
Did they?
Did
I
you
didn't
not
know
see
this.
that?
No.
It is. Hold up, I will send you. I've got a picture of it here.
Okay.
But it is literally just a very miniature Game Gear that fits in the palm of your hand, like tiny.
Nice.
And it includes there's 4 different ones, and they each include 4 games basically.
Okay.
So
Damn.
yeah, it's
I mean, I'm a sucker for handheld consoles, so this is good.
yeah. The thing is though, I can't actually find a picture of it here, but it's so tiny. I kind of wonder how you're actually going to be able to play it.
In
Like,
what way do you mean?
It's a console that fits in the palm of your hand. So as you can imagine,
Oh.
like literally
Oh, that's
fits.
small. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you looked it up?
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Oh, I feel sorry
yeah.
for anyone who has big hands.
exactly. I mean, even if you have small hands, like a baby's gonna maybe be perfect for this game, but other than that, and also with each one only containing 4 games, it's not
Seems a little
particularly-
limited. Yeah.
Yeah. I think perhaps from a collector's standard, it might be quite cool, but for practicality's sake,
Yeah. Perhaps things might change in the future with that before they release it, but who knows?
yeah, hopefully. But yeah, and the next piece of news we have is that this one actually is for tomorrow, but it will be in the past by the time this episode uploads. And that's on the 5th of June, is the release of Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics.
Right, now I'm actually really excited for this game, I won't lie.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of, that sort of genre. I used to have a game on the DS called 42 All-Time Classics or something like that. I don't remember
Yes,
exactly.
I think it's the same brand they're using.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And I was a big fan of that. I've actually gone back and just replayed that game over and over again. So I'm really glad to see it coming to the Switch with sort of
that's
new
nice.
graphics, a new style. It's nice.
That's cool, yeah. I mean, I've been watching some reviews of it, and there definitely seems like, 51 options. There's a lot of options there, so particularly with online play, because I would struggle
that's
to
gonna be
find
great
people. I would struggle to find people to play it with locally, but online, I mean,
There's plenty of options to be had, yeah.
yeah. Are you going to get it at launch then, or?
Probably not on launch because, of course, Xenoblade, but as soon as I'm sort of
Yeah.
slowing down with Xenoblade or nearing its end, then yeah, I'm definitely going to be picking that one up.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you get it, I might have to get it myself. Maybe even a stream game for multiplayer.
Yeah, it sounds like a bit
Sort of
of
the
fun.
perfect fit for it. So that sounds like a lot of fun. And that is all the news I have for this past month.
Okay.
Which brings us on to the next segment, Games Time, baby, where we talk about what we've been playing. And
Right.
Before we get on to Xenoblade, is there anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, so in the lead up to Xenoblade, I was really craving a game to play, and I wasn't sure what quite to do. So I thought I'd visit one of my favourite game series of all time, Inazuma 11. So I bought Inazuma 11 Go Chrono Stones Wildfire. It's a long title, I know. For the 3DS.
Dog.
Okay, I guess I'll talk about this for a bit then.
Yeah, you do that.
Okay. So pretty much, for you guys listening, Inazuma 11 is a series about football, soccer, if you're American or something like that. And it takes place, the Go series follows a character called Orion Sherwind, who's an avid midfielder. And in the first game in this series, which is Inazuma 11 Go, he sort of wins the football frontier and they rise up against the football state, which is kind of governing things in a bad way. And the sequel kind of takes place in a bit more of a fantasy perspective. It follows him and his team kind of travelling through time to different eras to try and save football because it's being wiped out by these dudes from the future. And, you know, the plot is kind of really interesting considering how simple you might think, you know, it's just football, soccer. The plot actually does get really interesting at times. You see some real character development from this kind of game. It's a level 5 game, so that's kind of what you'd expect.
How does it play like?
So it's kind of like you have a soccer field in front of you with the perspective of over the top. Kind of vertical, like opposite to FIFA. And you drag your players along the screen using the stylus to move where you want to go, you tap where you want to pass. When characters interact with each other, you can choose to like do a block command or you can do a dribble. And all the characters have all these different cool special moves and that kind of stuff. It's really flashy. It's a lot of fun. I've always really enjoyed the series, and this title, released in 2015, I believe, was no exception. It was a great time to play. I completed the story just before Xenoblade came out, and I'm still having fun with the. I'm still having a lot of fun with the post game because that's about half of the game's content.
Oh wow!
It's a great time though. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've never tried out the series myself. I only remember reading a little bit about it in a gaming magazine several years ago.
Right.
Plus whatever you've told me. So it does seem interesting. Like, I mean, level 5, their quality of game speaks for themselves. So
exactly, yeah. They're a great little company. They're probably my favourite, you know, game developing team. So.
Yeah, and is there a new Inazuma 11 coming out on Switch, isn't there, eventually?
Yes, Inazuma 11, it's dubbed Great Road of Heroes, coming out in 2021. It was originally going to come out this year, but it's been delayed because the team kind of got burnt out and they kind of wanted to recreate things, build it from the ground up. So we're looking to see a much more freedom-oriented version of the series coming out on the Switch in 2021.
Oh, that's cool. Definitely something worth keeping an eye out on.
Yeah.
So me, I don't have too much. I did finish off playing Three Houses, which was fantastic. You were absolutely correct, Kai. God Shattering Star is God Shattering. It's aptly named. It's really good. So
yeah, all of the final battle themes, because they're different in each route. All of them are really good.
The other two I actually have heard because they're in Smash, I believe.
Yeah.
So they're all fantastic. And just in general, it's made me really want to try out the other routes when I've got free time.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say give it a couple weeks, wait until you're ready and go back in.
Yeah, and I do want to try out the DLC also. I don't know if you've played that at all.
No, I haven't touched the DLC.
So that might be... I mean, I enjoyed the game enough, so
yeah,
why not play more of it? So it was good. And that's pretty much mostly what I've been doing up until Xenoblade.
Yeah, same.
The big one. So what are your initial impressions having played Xenoblade?
I've been having a great time. If you didn't know, I've spent a lot of time on the original, over 300 hours in-game, plus, you know, probably over 1,000 more outside of the game, doing stuff like writing about it and that kind of thing. And the Definitive Edition has just been a joy. You know, all of the worst parts of the game in the original, such as the side quests and the graphics, have all been improved greatly. And, you know, when you take a game that was already a classic masterpiece and you make all of the bad parts good, it's made it all feel so good.
It's just aptly named. It is definitely the definitive edition of this game.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when they remake things, like I know Majora's Mask 3D, for example, there was some controversy about things they changed, where people would be like, "It's better in this way, but it still doesn't overtake the original." But with this one, I can't see any reason to go back to the original. This is just it and more. So.
Yeah. I mean, I've noticed that when I was playing through the main game earlier today, like the gameplay is. It feels so similar to me. Like it doesn't even feel like I'm playing a different game. It feels like I'm playing the exact same one with just some great improvements, and it's been really nice to see.
Definitely, yeah. I've been because I've just finished Future Connected today. So I won't go into any spoilers, but I haven't started the main game yet, so I haven't got to see as much of the differences there. But you can just tell the gameplay from Future Connected, like how the side quests just points you out places, so you're not lost wandering for a certain NPC. You know, it's it makes a big difference. It's one of the things that may seem like a small difference, but with the amount of side quests you do over time, it's huge. So
yeah, agreed.
And I mean, we have to talk about the soundtrack. It's
oh man, don't even get me started. This soundtrack,
phenomenal. Yeah.
You know, they've remastered so many songs. You know, ones that play more than once have been fully remastered. They're much more orchestrated. Again, said this so many times before. I love orchestrated music.
Yeah.
So, you know, places, I've only been to areas such as Colony 9 so far, but even there, like, just the violins that you can hear in the background and stuff, it just feels so much more precise, and an already amazing song has just been improved even further.
Yeah, you've got things like Engage the Enemy has like a horn in it now playing, which is awesome.
That kind of stuff.
And I did hear the other day, I heard the remix of what's it called? Tragic Decision, and
right.
Oh boy, that's insane.
Yeah, it's real spicy.
And of course, there's new music for Future Connected.
Yes, some of that stuff. 2 songs in particular: the regular battle theme and the we'll call it the Beast battle theme for now.
Yes, yeah.
Those 2 songs in particular really stood out to me as just great tracks.
They do, yeah. The battle theme is very Torna-esque in a way.
I was actually just about to say that. Yeah, they remind me of Torna a lot.
In fact, I'd say the other tracks kind of reminded me a little bit Torna-esque as well, actually. But
even the area itself does.
Yeah, just the general design of it does feel, even though it's not, and we'll probably say it, don't go into this expecting Torna 2.
I wouldn't say it's as good by any means, but it's a great experience nonetheless. Yeah,
the thing is, I guess, it's not a new game, it's an epilogue, so it's something free they added onto the game, which by no means needed to be there. We would have all bought it like day one without, so...
Yeah, exactly. Nonetheless, though, I don't know. Although, you know, the music was amazing and the gameplay is great, I felt like the story was lacking. I'm not going to talk about specifics, but I did feel like it was lacking.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. I think it partially depends what you're expecting from it and what your perspective is, but it's not, like we said before, it's not Torna 2.
But it's
definitely
short. It's short.
Yeah, it's a neat addition, and that it's definitely worth, you know, trying out once you've beaten the main game. So it's a lot of fun.
Don't get me wrong, some parts of the plot are great, like one of the characters from the main game returns, which I'm not going to spoil, but you know, they get some amazing character development. 2 of your new playable characters are Kino and Nene, and they are honestly a joy as party members. They are such a good representation of Nopon.
They are some of the best Nopon have been in Xenoblade in general, so...
Exactly, yeah.
It's adorable.
They provide some great comic relief and that kind of thing. You know, especially considering the main game, the main cast is all pretty mature overall. Yeah. So having it be sort of switched to having Shulk and Melia as mature and then the other half of the cast being not so much, it's actually provided a new dynamic which I find interesting. Again, I don't think they did as much with it as they could have done, but you know, they did enough considering the span of the story's time.
I believe I heard there was like an interview or something, or with one of the creators, where they basically said they didn't want to do too much because otherwise it would veer into making it, they need to make it paid basically, otherwise it'd be cutting into the next game's time. So
Yeah, that's completely
So
understandable.
yeah, so I guess there's sort of giving us something for nothing. I'll gladly take it.
Yeah, and plus,
um,
I think I read somewhere in the art book that
mhm.
this future connected epilogue story is actually kind of meant to just be showing us what the future of Xenoblade is going to be like. You know, whether that's Xenoblade 3 or X2 or something like that, we don't know.
Mm,
But they have said that
that's
this
cool.
is going to indicate the direction we're going in. So
That's
rather
interesting.
than it being a full story on its own, I like to more so think of this as like a teaser for what's to come.
Yeah, we'll definitely. I think after this, we're going to record a sort of a spoiler discussion of Future Connected, which
Yeah,
I'll be posting next week probably. So we'll get into it more then. But there's definitely room for speculation. So,
for sure.
but one thing I want to talk about is just, like the gameplay. You said it feels the same, but it just it's so smooth. It's as smooth as it was on the original.
Absolutely.
And one thing that I really appreciate is just one of the big things for me is the item navigation in the menus. Being able to not just change your fashion and your equipment separately, but also just the fact you can equip gems and that and compare them so much easier than the original. It's
Yeah, I see what you mean. The UI has been
yeah,
improved greatly,
that's
and
it. Yeah,
it's been a great joy to see that.
it's just
Especially with
such a
things like
smooth.
side quest tracking, the fact you can track even just random NPCs now, you get so much more information about them.
Yes, yeah.
It's a great time, yeah.
And one thing I really appreciate is this is more of a personal thing, but when I first played Xenoblade, I never really tried many other characters. I
Yeah,
pretty much stuck as Shulk, but Future Connected actually it starts you out as Melia. It's
yeah.
so
It puts
I mean
emphasis on the fact that she's the main character.
yeah. So you can just switch to Shulk, but I decided to give her more of a shot now that after watching Chugga Conroy's playthrough last year, for the first time I actually understand how Melia works. So
I see.
um, so I gave her a shot, and I actually played with her through most of the game, and I really love how she plays now. So
Oh, cool.
it was fun being able to try out a new character, and when I do get to the main game, I hope to continue that basically and experiment with everyone. So
That sounds good. Yeah, I've personally played as all the characters quite a lot, and yeah, Millie is a really interesting character to play. I'd argue that her and Dunban are both actually very technical characters that you need to play in a certain way to do it efficiently.
yeah,
Um, and it's actually really fun to do that, because although you might think, oh, I'm just making things harder for myself, no,
yeah.
the damage output and the reward actually is there as well. So it's definitely worth
I
giving a shot.
it's nice how there's when you play as Melia, it gives you as a bit of a risk reward situation where do you want to keep onto onto an element to buff your party, or do you want to deal some damage but get rid of the buff? It's a
Yeah.
very interesting mechanic. So
That's true.
I've
And
enjoyed it a
also,
lot.
we can't talk about the characters in Future Connected without referencing the art names for Kino and Nene. Surely
Oh yes, of
they
course.
were amazing.
Yeah, it's
I think my personal favourite is Covert Stance from Shala, now being renamed to Yogurt Stance.
yogurt starts. Yeah, there's one about toast as well. I think it's
Yeah,
yeah, it's that Nopon are all about food, and I love it. So
exactly. It's so charming.
it is. It's. I mean, we've said a bit about how it's not quite to the level of the main game, but you can tell that it's got just as much charm in it and just as much care put into it. I
Absolutely.
think. So
Yes.
you won't. It might not be exactly what people might have been hoping for in some ways, but there's no denying it's a fun package.
Yeah.
It's really good. So yeah, have you got anything else you want to say about your experience of the game so far?
Just that I've been really enjoying it. I really like the expert mode they've added in, where you can change your level. It helps to make sort of bosses and the gameplay much more diverse, because rather than just going into something and being over leveled because you've done all the side quests,
That
you
was
can
me in
actually
Future
reduce your
Connected.
level. Exactly, yeah. Like you
Yeah.
can just sort of reduce your level, and you can put a challenge on yourself, and
It's
you
a
get
bit.
more rewards from that because of the XP distribution.
Am I correct in saying it's a bit like how Xenoblade 2 handles leveling up, where you can add on the levels?
A little bit. So, of
Yeah.
course, in Xenoblade 2, when you reach new locations and stuff, I believe, then you can put your XP on in hotels.
Yeah, the inns, yeah.
The inns, that's the one, yeah.
Your
In
premier
this,
inns.
it's a little bit similar. So rather than having the inns, your XP for landmarks and side quests actually just go into the expert mode menu, where you can just put them on manually and take off levels at any time.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more sort of, it gives you more options.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
That's cool. One final thing I do want to bring up actually is, of course, the game looks beautiful on the Switch, but big special shout out to the facial animations being so much better now.
Yeah, that's true. They look great.
They do, yeah. I mean, I haven't got to the main game to compare with the original so much, but just in Future Connected, when you see Melia's expression change when she's talking to people, it brings it to life so much more. So
yeah, especially considering like the originals, not so great models.
Excuse me, Kai. What's wrong with PNG faces? I failed to see the problem.
Oh, I love a good JPEG.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's so it's really fun, and if you haven't played this game yet,
do it.
Please get it. Yeah, try it out. It's, Kai will hunt you down if you don't.
That's a command.
He will find you, and he will make you play Xenoblade. So.
I'll do it.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, so that's mostly it. So again, we will be discussing Future Connected in spoilers at a later date. So if you beat the game, stay posted for that. But for now, we're going to go on to the next segment of the podcast, which is what's your stinking future? They're never going to get old, so
no.
So we're going to look at a few things in this upcoming month.
Okay.
And the first thing that I've got to talk about, which was announced recently, or revealed more recently, is that on the 17th of June, we have Pokemon Sword and Shield, the Isle of Armour DLC.
Right, yeah. So there was that trailer released very recently about that.
Yeah.
Wasn't there?
Yeah. As you may know, I'm not a big Pokemon Sword and Shield guy, or Pokemon in general, so I don't know too much about this, but I know you played the main game, didn't you?
Yeah, I played the main game, and despite sort of the arguments people make about it being poor quality, it was a fun experience. You know, I do probably prefer a couple of the older games, but it was an okay experience nonetheless. This DLC
sort of the general,
seems to... Oh yeah.
Sorry. I would say that sort of the general impression I got was that it's fine basically. It's Pokemon on the Switch. It's what it needed to be, but not much more. In some ways, is sort of the impression I get.
Yeah, it kind of feels lacking.
Yeah.
But with this new DLC, it kind of takes place in a new location. It seems to have a new sort of small story, a new wild area, which people are looking forward to. I think it's 100 new Pokemon as well. New Gigantamax forms. Yeah. All of that sort of stuff.
So there's a lot of new content there, but you're not going to get it, are you?
No, I'm not going to get it. You know, as much as I do like Pokemon, I'm personally not interested in it. I think the new story revolves around a new Pokemon, which its name I can't remember.
Kudfu or something, is it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And you kind of go up a tower only using that Pokemon, and I just kind of find it a little bland as a Pokemon. It's not interesting.
Yeah.
It's just it's a fighting type that sort of changes, you know, changes depending on what version you get. I don't know though. I think for solid Pokemon fans, they're gonna have a good time, but I won't be getting it because I don't know. It just doesn't stand out to me.
Yeah, I think in a way it seems to me very reminiscent of the main game itself, in that it's new content. If you enjoyed the main game, it's pretty much more of the same stuff, but there's not much massive appeal to it. There's nothing big that grabs the attention, really.
Exactly, yeah. Like there's a couple of Gigantamax forms and a couple of new Pokemon, but I'm pretty sure you can even just trade those Pokemon into the main game if you don't have the DLC.
That's true. That's probably going to be the main appeal, is that they're adding... I'm not sure if it's with this and the next one as well, but there's going to be, I think, 200 new Pokemon added. So if you've got them already, you can trade them in now. So you don't need to buy the DLC for that.
Yeah, it just seems, I don't know, a little redundant. It feels like they haven't done anything outstanding with the series, which is a shame, but I'm sure it's going to be some great content nonetheless.
Yeah, I think it seems alright, but if you grew tired of the main game, there's probably not much to bring you back here, I guess.
Yeah.
So the next thing I have, which we'll talk about just very briefly, on the 19th is The Last of Us 2 releasing.
Right.
Now, I don't know too much about this. I just thought it's such a big release that I sort of had to touch on it a little bit. Do you know much about this game?
I've heard. I don't know too much about it. I have heard from a couple of different places that The Last of Us 2 isn't going to be very good at all.
It's we won't go into it here, but it has leaked, so that's out there, and people aren't happy with story stuff. Basically, is the main impression I get.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm curious though, for sure.
Yeah, it's one of the things where I know some people, you get a lot of people online who aren't happy with the leaks and are saying, well, this is the death of this series. But then again, the sort of the casual gamer isn't even going to know that it's leaked. They might still have a perfectly fun time with it. So
yeah, so people are
probably do
skeptical,
well.
But we need to wait and see.
Yeah, that's the thing. Context is always important rather than just reading some bits from a leak. So I'm interested to see how it actually goes down when the real thing comes out. That'll be interesting. The next thing is on the 23rd of June, we have Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated releasing.
Now this is more your field.
This is my field. You know, we got into your stuff with Xenoblade. This is my domain now, so stand back, guy.
All right.
Do you know much about this game?
I know that the original was, it was kind of good, but the popularity fizzled out until I heard that the speedrunning scene in it actually became really dynamic, and the speedrunning scene for the original game. I don't know if I'm getting it mixed up with another one, but I've heard that this SpongeBob game is actually was really big on the speedrunning scene, and it became really popular for a little while. So I'm interested to see how much of that carries over.
Yeah, I'd believe that, I guess, because it's basically a collectathon, sort of in the style of Mario 64 or Banjo-Kazooie.
I see.
Where you go around these worlds collecting spatulas, in this case, rather than stars. So, of course. But it's just you sort of think with like a sort of TV show tie-in game, you don't expect too much from it. But if you like that genre of 3D platformers, it's a very solid game. And of course, if you're a SpongeBob fan, there are loads of references scattered throughout it. So, like cool. one of the areas takes place in Rock Bottom, for example.
Cool.
Which is a fan favorite.
I remember that episode.
Yeah, it's a classic one. So there's
that's cool.
It's got a lot of love for fans of the series, and it's just a solid game. So and they're adding new content to it as well. What was that? Sorry.
Sounds like a fun one. Is it is the main sort of appeal of it that it's the recreated graphics again, or?
Pretty much, yeah. Just to be honest, it doesn't. It looks nice, new, but I don't think they've added that much more. I think they've added one boss fight that was cut out from the original, and like some sort of online arena or something, which will be interesting.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
But really, just the main appeal for me is just being able to play the game again, but on my Switch. So.
That's cool.
If you're interested in 3D platformers or SpongeBob, I would recommend it.
I'll have to see how things play out.
And of course, Kai, you've confirmed you're playing it on your stream release day, haven't you? So
yeah,
look, Kai, we did a poll in the Discord, and the poll doesn't lie. So.
Oh yeah, I don't remember setting that one up.
Oh yeah, but that is all that we have confirmed for June, except one thing we have. That has been said, but we don't have a release date for, is that we are getting an ARMS character in Smash Bros.
Yeah, that's right.
And we haven't heard anything about that since March, so...
well, it'll be coming soon, for sure.
Yeah, assuming there's not been any delays, it should be coming out this month, so we should be getting an announcement trailer for the character any moment, really.
Any ideas on who it's going to be?
Well, I'm half expecting it to have released tomorrow, so this conversation will be completely redundant by the time the podcast releases. But,
maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure really. The obvious one is, of course, Springman, or Ribbon Girl, but there's some more fan favourite picks like Twintel or Min Min. So,
yeah, I think Min Min and Ninjara both have a very good chance.
Ninjara, yeah. It's with most Smash Bros tends to go with the mascot character. There's not really many exceptions to this. But I think if there is any exception, it's going to be ARMS, because
of course
the mascot.
It's an exceptional, like the series itself is kind of an exception in a lot of ways. So.
It is, yeah. The mascot doesn't. I mean, Springman, he is the mascot, but he's not that big a character. He's not particularly, loved too much.
He's the poster boy for the game.
Yeah. They could always do like Dragon Quest style. They could mix and match.
Yeah.
because of course the main part of the gameplay is the arms, which you can mix and match anyway. So
Right.
but yeah, I think whoever they pick, it's going to be a very unique character to play as.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be cool. I mean, I'm just saying, Kid Cobra. Nah, there are some characters we know that won't be it, but
yeah,
it's cool
I think,
to think about.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and they just love their reach, don't they? First they added Simon Belmont with his whip, then they added Byleth with the spear, and now we're getting...
It's just getting more and more.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh well.
It's when does it end, Kai? When does it end?
Who knows, honestly.
But I'm really interested in how they're going to play, because I don't know, have you played ARMS much?
I played the Global Test Punch when it came out both times.
Yeah, same,
and
yeah.
that was fun, but it was one I couldn't see myself playing for longer than a couple of hours. So.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's myself, I generally don't stick too well to online games like Splatoon or ARMS or anything like that. I tend to veer more towards single player experiences, mostly.
Yeah.
So it sort of fell out the way for me, but I think there's no denying it deserves its place in here. It's as just an interesting new series that we haven't had anyone play like before. So
yeah, it seems cool.
yeah. So hopefully that will come out later this month, and then we can talk about it in the next podcast. So
Looking forward to it.
Did you get the second Fighters Pass?
I haven't bought it yet, but I am planning to. Yeah.
Ah, cool. So yeah, and that I believe is the show. So yeah,
Pretty much.
Thank you guys for listening to the podcast. Of course, we'll be back next month, and we'll have hopefully a future connected spoiler discussion next week. So please,
Right.
if you want to give us a cheeky little subscribe, you can, find out more about those. And we also are on, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts. So if you prefer to listen to us there, feel free. Big thanks to Australian Sam for once again doing the thumbnail and the logo. Excellent job as usual. And let's not forget my co-host Fascarine. Thank you so much for talking with me again.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again. Remember, guys, shameless plug. Check out my Twitch. Also, at some point in the near future, I am going to be putting on a YouTube channel of my own with, more official sort of future connected reviews. I'm going to be putting on VOD, cut up versions of my VODs of when I played Future Connected for myself. So if you guys wanted to sort of see what it's all about in terms of gameplay, then you can head over there. But that's not going to be out for a little while. So.
Yeah, well, keep me posted, and of course I'll put a link to your Twitch channel in the description below if anyone wants to check it out. Please do. And yeah, that'll be exciting because I missed out on the Future Connected stream, so to get to watch that in VOD will be that'll be nice.
Yeah, it should be good.
Yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Bye.